Hey guys! So to start this video out, if you hear like a bunch of I don't know if you can hear it now, a bunch of clunking, it's because this is a stressful video for me, so I need to play with my fidget. Yes, this is a 5x5 Rubik's Cube. Yes, I can solve it. Yes, right now I'm just going to use it as a fidget. So, earlier today, I recorded a video and then scrapped it. So, the video that I recorded was about my anxiety about going on MDI, multiple daily injections for my diabetes, and I kind of decided that it doesn't really make sense because, I'll know the answer by the time the video goes up, so why am I putting that video up? But I decided that there's another topic that's been very close to my heart that I want to talk about, and it's because this month is EDS Awareness Month, which, if you don't know, EDS Awareness Month is also Hypermobility Spectrum Disorder Awareness Month, which is the condition that I have. And I just want to talk about this fact. I sometimes feel like an imposter. And I thought that it would be good to make this video because I think that there's, we talk about imposter syndrome a lot as far as women feeling like they don't deserve to be where they're at. But I don't think that we talk enough about disability imposter syndrome. I saw a couple of Easy Cornblow videos about it, but I haven't really seen a lot other than that. Now, it is quite possible that the reason why there aren't a lot of videos about disability imposter syndrome is because I just haven't seen them. I think that Jessica Kilgren-Fozzard made a imposter syndrome video a while ago. I don't know. I love all of her videos, and I've seen every single one of her disability-related videos. So I'm pretty sure she did make an imposter syndrome one, and I think it was specifically about not being diagnosed and feeling like an imposter through your symptoms. But for me, I have diagnoses. I'm tentatively diagnosed with gastroparesis. I'm diagnosed with binge eating disorder. I am diagnosed with hypermobility spectrum disorder. A lower limb misalignment. I have diagnoses, but I still feel like an imposter. I think part of the reason why I still feel like an imposter is just because I don't have it as severe, or I guess as severe would probably be the right word. I don't have it as severe as a lot of the people that you see, on YouTube and stuff that have it. For example, even though I do have joint dislocations, I have dislocations of one joint. I have dislocations of my knees. Now, I think I've talked about this before, that I have literally thousands of knee dislocations every day. I basically have subluxations, but I don't know if they are technically classed as subluxations, because for me, my knees sit outside the joint space. The position that they naturally sit in is a position of dislocation. So, right now, I have my right leg straightened, and technically my knee is dislocated. It's technically out of the socket. But my left knee is bent, and so my left knee is in the socket. And I think that even though I have these dislocations, I don't have, what I call, spontaneous dislocations, what people would typically think of as a dislocation. I don't have those anymore. I had them when I was younger, but then I stopped when I had my surgeries, basically. It didn't cure all of my conditions, but interestingly enough, it did cure, this one specific condition of having multiple joint dislocations. I don't know why it cured it, it just did. And because I don't have dislocations, I kind of feel like, well, maybe I don't really have this condition, or maybe I shouldn't talk about having this condition because I don't have it as severe as other people, My Baton score was 5, but really it was more of a historical HSD, but I also know that I don't have historical HSD. I also know that, that's using one test. If I use the Hospital Del Mar test, for example, that tests, I believe the Hospital Del Mar test tests 17 joints, where it's either side. If you have it on either side, you're yes. My knees are hypermobile, but they're not hypermobile enough to technically still be counted as hypermobile, but they said that's because of my surgeries and all the work that's been done on my knees. So, like, I almost didn't even get diagnosed with hypermobility spectrum disorder, even though I clearly have hypermobile joints, according to my physical therapist. It makes me feel sometimes like I don't deserve to have this space. I don't deserve to say that I have hypermobility spectrum disorder. I don't deserve to advocate for it because I don't have it as severe as what other people have it that are on YouTube. And I know that that's not a fair comparison because, you know, the way that I think about it is that there's like a severity bias that people who have it more severe are going to talk about it more because it impacts their life more, whereas, you know, that's why I don't really necessarily believe the whole EDS isn't rare thing, is because I think that, now, I think there are definitely people like me who are, like, I think there are definitely tons of people who are undiagnosed until they hear about it, but I refuse to believe that people have these symptoms of, like, having dislocations all the time, and they just go about their daily life and they don't even talk about it. Like, I think that that's not very likely. Like, I think that it is likely that doctors aren't educated about it, and I do think that there are probably a lot of undiagnosed people, but I don't think there are enough undiagnosed people that make it a common condition. Like, I don't think it's ever going to be, like, the commonality of, like, say, Crohn's disease, where, like, a lot of doctors know what Crohn's is. I don't think it's ever going to be like that, just because I feel like if it were like that, that more doctors would know about it, and then more doctors would be treating it. I think that the fact that it's so undiagnosed is kind of, like, showing that there are not a lot of people that have it severely, at least. Like, I think that there aren't a lot of people that have, you know, multiple joint dislocations daily. I think that there are even not a lot of people that have multiple joint dislocations the way that I have multiple joint dislocations daily. I think that there's just a lot of people who are hypermobile and maybe have a little bit of joint pain, but not enough to have EDS. So if I've been diagnosed with hypermobility spectrum disorder, and I've had a physical therapist tell me that I have hypermobility spectrum disorder, why do I feel like I'm a fraud? I think the answer to that is really simple, is because for me, I look at other people who are on YouTube, and I see their symptoms being so much worse than mine. And like I said, I think that there is a severity bias that, like, if your symptoms weren't as severe, you maybe wouldn't feel like you need to make YouTube videos about it. Like, when I started my YouTube channel back in 2021, I was dealing with very severe stomach problems. Kind of the entire time that I've been making YouTube videos, with the exception of, you know, the last couple weeks, I've been dealing with severe stomach problems. And even though they haven't been feeding tube level severe stomach problems, they've been, like, not being able to eat severe stomach problems. And then when I started binging, I think that that only made me feel more like a fraud, because it's like, well, you're supposed to have stomach problems, but here you are binging. But you see, the thing is, one of the stomach problems that I have is that I don't ever feel hungry. So for me, it makes sense that I'm able to binge because I don't feel hunger and fullness cues ever. And while I wish that I could be disinterested in food, and sometimes I am disinterested in food, sometimes I just really, really want food. Not that I'm hungry. Like, for example, today I went out and I ate and I was not hungry. I literally had to force myself to eat. But, like, mentally I wanted to eat. So that's why I forced my body to eat, even though my body didn't want to eat. And trust me, I know how weird and illogical that sounds, but I also know that this is what I've been living with for the past while. And so I feel like, you know, people, at least it seems like the people that are like, I have gastroparesis, like they have feeding tubes, or they've had the G-palm surgery, or they have gastric emptying, like, there's a, to explain it, and I think that I may have talked about this in my health update video, there is a gastric stimulator that you put in your stomach, and it's literally called, I think, a gastric pacemaker, and it uses electricity and electric stuff to be able to get your stomach to empty normally. Like, I feel like, because I don't have any of that Diamond Imposter now, for a while I was taking, and pull this out because I have a couple left, I was taking the first line drug, I can't even think what it's called anymore, Reglan, there we go. I was taking Reglan for a little while, but then I felt unsafe taking Reglan combined with one of my other pills because they have a black box interaction. And while for a while I was on the lowest dose of both, I decided that after my dose was doubled, that I didn't feel comfortable taking Reglan anymore. And my team was like, cool. But that doesn't mean that I shouldn't still be on Reglan. Like, it doesn't mean that the problem that the Reglan was solving just went away. It did come back. And so for me, I know that I deal with this. I know that I deal with feeling like I'm an imposter, like I'm not really sick, and all of that. But I haven't quite figured out a way to make myself not feel like an imposter yet. Now maybe one day that will change, and I won't feel like such an imposter. I kind of hope that it does someday change, and then I'm able to be more accepting of myself and my stomach conditions. I don't know. I don't know what the future has for me in that regard. I would love to be able to come back one day and report of like, hey, by the way, I no longer feel like I'm an imposter with my stomach conditions. But I don't know if that'll ever be the case, you know, because the world puts out there that people with gastroparesis are skinny and deathly ill and use feeding tubes, and that's not me. Now, that's not to say that I don't have any stomach issues, right? Because I clearly do. Like, I am diagnosed with gastroparesis as far as my doctors are concerned. I don't fit the mold. I don't look like what someone looks like when they have gastroparesis. I'm no longer losing weight because I'm no longer deathly sick like I was before. I was, you know, it was concerning when I lost 60 pounds in like 6 months. Like, that was concerning. It was concerning when I lost 30 pounds in 2 months. But, you know, I'm no longer at a point where my weight is concerning because I've gained so much weight now, not because I've lost so much weight. And I gained weight because of binge eating, because of how depressed I've been. Even this weekend, I spent like the entire weekend sleeping because even though I did do something fun, I'm still dealing with severe depression. Even though I'm taking my depression medicine, everything is, you know, supposedly going well. You know, I've got the end in sight. I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be moving. I'm going to be living with my parents. I'm going to be going back to school. Oh, I guess I didn't say this on this channel yet. Yeah, I'm going back to school. You know, even though things are looking up, I'm still depressed. And so mentally, it's just all adding to this feeling that I'm an imposter. This feeling that I'm not really sick. I don't really have gastroparesis. I don't really have stomach problems. It's just all in my head. It's all something that I made up. And even though logically I know that that doesn't make a lot of sense, that's the way I feel. Now, I don't know that there is a quick solution for imposter syndrome. Obviously, I don't want that solution to be me getting sick again and then like, oh, I don't feel like an imposter anymore because I'm literally sick all the time. But, you know, I will say that on my birthday, you know, when I woke up and I was very sick, I didn't feel like an imposter. And that even makes me feel even crazier, you know, because it's like either I feel deathly sick or I feel like I'm a fake. And there's no in between. There's no, oh, I have symptom relief. I just either feel like I'm a fake or I feel like I'm not a fake. This video has been all over the place. Good luck editing. Good luck editing this, Leia. But I think that kind of the message here is that, you know, you can have really severe symptoms. You can have obvious symptoms, but you're not going to be able to compare to other people. And when you compare yourself to other people, if you're not as sick or more severe as they are, you're going to think that you're a fake. And guess what? There's absolutely no reason for me to think that I'm a fake or that I'm an imposter. Like, I know what I feel. I know how it felt on my birthday when I woke up nauseous and I ran to the bathroom and threw up. I know how it felt when I was in Chicago, taking my Reglan every day and feeling like I wanted to throw up and not eat. I know what it felt like, when I lay in bed because I'm just not hungry. And, the only condition that I don't feel like an imposter for is diabetes. And I think it's because literally with this little thing right here, I literally have a constant reminder of, like, you have diabetes. I take my insulin every day, and it's a constant reminder of, like, you have diabetes. If you don't do this, you will die. And I think that constant reminder of, like, having medication for something, not just being sick, but having medication for it, I think for some reason mentally helps me not feel like I'm an imposter. I have no way of knowing how to get to where I am with my diabetes, where I don't feel like I'm an imposter. I can say, yes, I do have diabetes, and feeling that way with hypermobility spectrum disorder and gastroparesis, of saying, yes, you do have these conditions. No, they're not all in your head. No, maybe they're not as severe as other people, but it doesn't mean you don't have them. Because, like, my diabetes for a while was not as severe as, like, I didn't need an insulin pump. I probably still don't need an insulin pump. I just need the multiple daily injections. But it was weird because not having multiple daily injections didn't make me feel like a fraud with my diabetes. But, not having a treatment for my gastroparesis makes me feel like a fraud. Not living in the emergency room or having been admitted to the ICU or whatever didn't make me feel like a fraud with my diabetes, but not having dislocations of more than 2 joints doesn't, like, I still feel like a fraud even though I only have dislocations of 2 joints, which only have dislocations of 2 joints. It's absurd, but these are, like, the tricks that my brain plays on me that tells me that, like, I'm not good enough. I must not really be sick, or I must not really be disabled because I don't have it as severe as other people, even though, I do, I don't want to say I have it pretty severe, but I do have problems in my lower joints. I literally have to wear these massive ankle braces that Mayo Clinic prescribed to me because my ankles are so floppy that they're like rag dolls. And I'm supposed to wear these braces that make them, immobile. And I guess I told myself, like, well, I haven't sprained my ankle for a while. And it's like, well, it's because you don't do anything, Leah. Because I don't really leave the house. I'm not housebound by any means, but it's just I don't have reasons to leave the house anymore with my job now. So I'm like, well, I don't really ever sprain my ankle anymore, but that doesn't take away the fact that my ankles are literally ragdoll ankles. This video is all over the place, guys. I'm sorry. I did almost solve the Rubik's Cube, if you're interested in that. So, alright, well, I'll see you later, and I will have that diabetes video up next week. So, bye, guys.